It's podcast time. So, this is another podcast.
If you just made that thing.
We can just leave this intro. So, there's another podcast. Talking about love and dating and stuff. Other people's questions and problems, and we talk about them.
True.
Because our relationship is totally perfect.
It is.
And we are here. Anyway, what's that? We both worked out this morning, so just whatever comes out's coming out. You know what I'm saying? Brain's on autopilot at this point, running on fumes.
True.
Like, yeah. So this is called Doing Devil's Tango. It's a podcast where we take your questions and your emails, your whatevers, and then we kind of talk about them, give advice, give our thoughts about certain situations. Because, you know, especially with the whole pandemic and all that, like, dating is just weird. Dating is weird in general. You know this, right?
True.
Dating just kind of sucks for most people. And so it's like, you know, just give our advice because we're a little bit older than I guess most people who watch like my videos and listen to the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm 30, almost 33, you're almost 27. And so it's like, you know, just give people some advice for the two of us who've been around the block a few times. You know what I'm saying?
Some advice from Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. Little. I mean, I like to think of it more as like the cool uncle and aunt, you know? Mm-hmm. Just a couple of dinks. Dink is a dual income, no kids type thing.
Oh.
Like a couple with no kids who are just like rich and just get to live their lives where everyone else who has kids is like,
True. That they're all jealous of.
Yeah. Like, So, first email here is really interesting email, I think, actually. The title is, Your Partner is Not Your Personal Project, which is a true statement, by the way. Your partner is not a project. Your partner is a person. It says here, Hi, Alex and Kelsey. I have heard many people say that when you are looking for a partner, make sure they are content with themselves and that their life is not a giant pile of mess. Basically, the key to a good relationship is that both sides are already mostly content with themselves. This is to ensure that one side is not always trying to pick up the mess that was made by the other side. You want a partner, not a project. But to what extent do you think content with yourself means? Like, it's obviously impossible to date a perfect person. Everybody has struggles and insecurities. There has to be a line, right? At what point are you babysitting your partner instead of doing your basic duties as a girlfriend or boyfriend? If you do realize that you are taking care of your partner a lot more than they're taking care of you, should you break up with them or stay just because you love them? It's easier said than done, of course. Just break up with them if you're doing more for her than she is for you or whatever. There are many factors that go into this, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Lots of love, anonymous girl who watches your videos. We read a lot of like the relationships and relationship advice, like subreddit posts and stuff. Mm-hmm. And just being in relationships over the years, you know, it's like the whole idea where it's kind of like in a relationship, you know, like a lot of times one person feels like they're kind of doing more than the other person is, or like, you know, everyone, like I said in the email, everyone has issues, everyone has insecurities, everyone has baggage, whatever, especially the older you get, the more you accrue. But like, you know, yeah, it's like they shouldn't be your project, but like, shouldn't you also kind of want to like help them be better people? Like, isn't that kind of the idea? You know, like mm-hmm. if you date someone who like is cool, like if you date someone who has like no standards and no like lines of any kind, and they just like let you do whatever you want, and they're just cool with anything as long as you like hang out with them, whatever, it's like you'll never really grow as like a person, you know? It's kind of like those like celebrities who always just have yes men around them who just tell them there's like the YouTubers, influencers, your Jake Pauls, your Tana Mojos, whatever, where it's like everyone around them just kind of wants a piece of their fame, and so they'll just go along with whatever they say, and they're like, yeah, you're so amazing, you're so cool, you're so pretty, you're so whatever, and like no one kind of says no to them or puts them in line or in any way, you know what I mean? And so then they turn into Jake Paul and Tana Mojo, you know what I'm saying? You know, you shouldn't be. Well, I'm just paraphrasing the email here. You know, it's like you shouldn't really be like trying to change that person as like your personal project, like mold them into exactly what you want. But also, like, you know, it would also be kind of absurd to like just have to put up with stuff you don't like all the time. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about this? So you've told me that in the past you dated guys where it's like they just had nothing in their life together whatsoever, that you had to basically like do like everything. You were like their like full on mommy girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you had to just like do like even like basic life adult things. Like you had to kind of do it for them because they couldn't basically do anything for themselves. I feel like a lot of girls have dated men like this probably, where it's like all they want to do is play games all day, or all they do is watch sports, or all they do is like whatever it is. And it's like, you know, the girl has to kind of like do almost everything for them, like what the guy's mom would do for him type thing. So it's like, you know, to what extent do you kind of put up with that? It's like, you know, you shouldn't be trying to like completely change everything about the person, but also it's like that doesn't mean you should have to just put up with whatever garbage they give you, right?
Right. Yeah. Whatever, I guess like whatever you really can't put up with in a relationship is something that you should bring up to your partner and say, it's not your responsibility to change it. It's their responsibility, I guess, if they want to stay in the relationship and it's something that you can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't take it upon yourself to try to make them change.
Right, yeah, I guess that's really the point, is like it's not even so much about like how much of them, like how much is it okay to kind of work on and change them versus like, you know, how much should you just accept or whatever. Because, you know, like I just said, I've said this before in a podcast, I think, several podcasts ago, where it's like, you know, I don't think anyone should be with someone who just accepts everything about them. Like if there's something that cannot be helped, like, I don't know, some kind of like physical or mental issue of some kind, then obviously it's like, okay, well, you know, this is a lifelong thing, so we need to work on this together. Not work on it, but I mean like we both need to accept it for what it is and kind of figure out how to work through it when the issues come up. Whereas there are definitely many things in people's lives that can absolutely be changed, but they have to want to change. You know, like a lot of people have a lot of issues or habits or things about themselves, personality quirks, whatever, that they've never had to change, and so they just haven't until now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then someone or something comes along where it's like, oh, like, you know, if I just fix this thing, or if I change this thing, or if I stop doing this one thing, then like my life will be like better because I'll be with this person who's kind of everything that I want. And then it's the only issue is this one thing that I don't even like doing anyway. And so it's like a lot of people fall into that, and it's not that you should change someone, but it's like, I don't know, like you should date someone who makes you want to be a better person, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if you date someone who just accepts all your flaws, all your everything perfectly, no matter what, no questions asked, then like none of you will grow up as people. You'll just kind of exist exactly as you are forever. Which, if that's what you want, then that's fine. But I think that kind of makes you sort of stagnate, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Instead of growing as like a person and like realizing things about yourself, like, oh, I can do this, or I can, you know, I don't have to be like this. I can actually do this or that or whatever. So that's what I would say. Like you said, Kelsey, it is up to the person themselves to change and to want to change. And it's like, how content are you with yourself? Was the thing she said something like, to what extent do you think content with yourself means? Like, obviously it's impossible to date someone who's perfect. Well, it's like I've said on podcasts before. I mean, it's good to have boundaries and have hard limits. And, you know, sometimes you'll meet someone and there's something about them that would normally be a hard limit, but maybe for you, like you're willing to, I don't know, cross that line for them, or vice versa. Maybe there's someone who it's like, this is my life and I'm sticking to it. And then they date someone and it's like, oh, well, actually, I would rather be with this person than live the life I thought I wanted. And then you kind of, you know, you realize things when you meet like the right person, quote unquote, or someone who's like, that you really like you sort of realize what actually becomes important and what's not, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
When Alex and I first started dating, I would be on my phone like all the time, like way too much. It was excessive, like for sure. And he talked to me and he was like, I don't like when you're on your phone so much when we're hanging out. Like, it makes me feel like you're not really interested, and like I would like for you to not be on your phone as much. And so I decided to stop doing that because I liked him and I wanted our relationship to be good and stuff. So I just stopped going on my phone as much.
Oh,
Yeah.
you like me?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, she likes me, everybody. She likes me. Yeah, I mean, like I said, obviously there's something like if someone has depression or something like that, or some kind of physical ailment or something, it's like, you can't be like, well, why don't you just like stop being in a wheelchair, So there's certain things that are unchangeable about people, but there are many things about you, and you listening, whoever, where it's like, you think it's like, oh, this is who I am, but it's like sometimes it's just a personality quirk that doesn't actually need to be there, or it's just like a bad habit, like being on your phone, like a lot, or whatever it is. There's things that you can do to like change and improve and grow as a person that maybe you've never had to until you meet the right person that it's like, yeah, like changing things about yourself sucks. It's hard. It's not fun most of the time, but it's like, it's almost always worth it. Like, what's the thing we always said? It's like nothing that's worth it is ever easy. Yeah. Usually the easy thing to do is the thing that's usually bad for you in some way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to date someone who will put up with whatever garbage you give them, but chances are that relationship is not going to go well. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you meet, but again, if you're dating someone who like wants you to change like every tiny thing about your personality and the way you dress and the way you act and the way you talk and all this stuff, which, some people, especially I think younger couples meet up with that a lot, like in high school and stuff. It's like, you need to lose a bunch of weight and you need to dress like this and you need to, I don't like girls who play video games, whatever it is. If it's like that, if they're trying to change who you are as a person, then that's a bad thing. But if someone just wants you to stop doing something that's like a bad habit or that's like bad for you or whatever, as in just like an action that you're doing or some kind of personality quirk or something like that, then I don't think there's anything wrong with like having that kind of change. Because like what you do is not who you are, I feel like. Like who you are as a person is like how you think and how you talk and your personal style and your personal view on the world and whatever. And if someone doesn't like that, then you should date someone else. But if someone just doesn't like something you do, like being on your phone a bunch or the way you like, I don't know, like you have a really bad temper or something like that, if there's something like that, then, that's not like who you are. That's just like a thing you do that is totally, you can change that and still be exactly the same person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yes, but...
Okay, yes. Yes,
not
but also...
And as for, like, at what point are you babysitting as opposed to doing your basic duties as a girlfriend/boyfriend, I don't think there's, like, a way to quantify that or, like, measure that. It's just if you feel like you're doing, like... the brunt of the work in the relationship, or like you have to do all the stuff around the house and your partner doesn't do anything, like then you're like babysitting them or whatever, I guess. But you should just be able to tell like that stuff is unequal in your relationship.
Yeah, I think it would become obvious.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, like, when it's happening, it's happening. You're like, wait a minute, I'm the one who's doing all the laundry and the cooking and the dishes and the cleaning, and this dude's just playing whatever game all day. And you're like, wait a minute. Or vice versa, right? It's like, maybe as the guy, like, the guy's like, I do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the whatever. I manage all the money. I do all the stuff. And then she's just and whatever, watching The Bachelor all day, or she's just playing games all day, or she's just whatever it is, And it's kind of like, you'll be able to tell when it's too much. And then you're like, wait a minute here. Like, on the one hand, in a relationship, I think, things should be pretty equal between the two of you, but also, like, I don't think a relationship works well when it becomes like a tit for tat kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, well, I did this, so now you have to do this for me, Like, you should want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the core of, like, we've said this on podcasts before, but, like, when you read these relationships, like, on the subreddits and stuff, and it's always like, I do all this, and then he can't even be bothered to call me once a week, or we're having a relationship, everything used to be great, and now, like, he only calls me, and then if I don't pick up, then he never calls me again the rest of the night or whatever. And it's like basically what that means is, like, the person you're dating doesn't really like you all that much anymore. Because if you really, really like someone, if you're really in love with someone, like, you would want to help with the chores. You would want to text them or call them. You would make time for them because they're important to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, it's not directly related to this email, but just kind of, like you're saying, you can tell when it becomes uneven, and you can tell when it's like there's something going on here, because it's like really, like, you do nothing at all, and then I'm just one doing everything, and you think that's normal and fine? What?
If you realize that you're taking care of your partner a lot more than they're taking care of you, should you break up with them or stay because you love them? I guess it's up to you whether you feel that you can handle that or not. I would try talking to them before you just break up with them.
Yeah, I mean, the first step in any relationship issue ever is talking about it. Unless it's like blatant like cheating or something, and then you should just leave anyway. But like, if it's like I do all the work and you just sit on the couch watching sports all day or whatever it is, right? Then it's like you should talk to him and be like, why? Like, can you please help me with this thing? Like, why is it whatever? Like usually what ends up happening is like, couples kind of start like equal, I guess, and then over time, like, one person starts doing less and less, the other person kind of picks up the slack, because it's like, well, I mean, this needs to be done, so I guess I'll just do it. But then that person doing that thing becomes normal, and then the other person realizes that they can kind of get away with that, But yeah, step one is just like talking about like, look, this bothers me. We both live in the same house, and we're both paying rent or whatever it is, and so like, can I Kelsey and I have like a chore chart thing that we never adhere to, but we made one where it's kind of like on this day with this thing and this day the bit of it, but so it's like, it's even something like that, just being like having a written record of who's supposed to do what when. Sounds kind of childish almost, like when you're a kid and you have like the chore wheel or whatever. You get like,
and then when we do all our chores, you get a big gold star
and
sticker.
A sucker,
yeah,
and a Tootsie Pop. But like, it's even just having something written that's visible, where it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be vacuuming today, or oh, I'm supposed to whatevering today. It's like something like that just makes it, easier to adhere to, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, should you break up? I mean, talk about it first. But if being a mommy girlfriend or a daddy boyfriend, okay, all right.
Hey, daddy.
Maybe we can try that out. No, but being like you're babysitting the person you're dating constantly. If that's like a deal breaker, if you want to be with someone who you feel like as an equal, quote unquote, then I mean, in theory, you can break up with anyone for any reason. Some reasons are better than others, but like, I mean, you can, like, you're not obligated to like stay in a relationship with someone you don't want to stay in a relationship in for whatever reason. Now, if you just leave because you're bored, then that kind of makes you the jerk. But it's, if I guess on the one hand though, it's kind of like, if you always have to babysit your boyfriend, quote unquote, or vice versa, babysit your girlfriend, babysit your non-binary partner, it can definitely make you lose respect for that person. Because you don't see them as like the person that I want to sleep with and I want to. It's kind of like they're just like a kid or like a pet, where it's like, oh, I gotta clean the litter box. Are you hungry? You hungry? Come here.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you lose respect for them as a romantic partner, and then they just kind of become this roommate in your house, sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the them not doing chores thing might not seem breakup worthy, but if you're dating someone that you have no respect for, then like, why would you date that person? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep. Not a very succinct answer, but
Right. So the answer is, what do you want, anonymous girl? Whatever. I mean, you've dated guys that you've had to like babysit, basically, right?
most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next email. I think you should read this one. I think this one. I think it's your email, actually, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you read this one, Kelsey?
Hey, Alex and Kesley.
You probably wrote that just to get me off the scent, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Surely Kelsey wouldn't misspell her own name.
To keep things short, I'm a 25-year-old girl who's become cynical of love based on observations of relationships gone wrong, toxic relationships, etc., and from personal experience. I think I've also developed trust and abandonment issues from the guys I've been interested in / dated.
Guys suck. Blah.
I only had one boyfriend when I was 21 in college. It only lasted a month and a half when he broke up with me, but have been interested in other guys over the years, none of which came to good results. I've also been in love before, different guy, too long of a story. Okay. In all those cases, I have been let down in terms of love. My point is, what advice can you offer to people who are cynical to love and or have developed trust / abandonment issues? Sincerely, a big fan.
Sincerely, not Kelsey's. All right, so summarize. So this girl, she's 25 years old, and she's just basically over love. She's over dating. She hates it. She had one boyfriend, and he let her down. I guess I did for like a month and a half, so I don't know if you count that as like a boyfriend. But, and then she's another guy that she liked, but that didn't work out. And she's had crushes on other guys, but that didn't work out. And just around her, she's seeing relationships fail, people getting cheated on, people lying, toxic relationships, abusive relationships, etc., etc. And so she's just completely disillusioned by this whole dating, love, romance thing.
Sounds like the setup for a rom-com.
And then she meets a guy. They bump into each other at the mall. And then he's like, I like your Hot Topic shirt. And she's like, don't talk to me, you're a man. And then he follows her and then wears her down eventually, because that always works. And then what? And then they have to agree to pretend to date so that she can get her mom off her back, because her mom's trying to hook her up with like the local church boy or something like that. And then they pretend to date, but then they find out they actually like each other. Blah. And then she's like, but I'm over love. I can't fall in love. And then he says something dumb like, don't fall in love, just fall with me, or something dumb like that. And then she's like, love is real, or something like that.
Yep. And then she
Noah
starts wearing
Centineo
pink at the end.
Yep, Noah Centineo's in the movie. That dude's been in high school for like 12 years.
I was just thinking about how funny it is that there are so many rom-com movies and romantic shows and stuff that are like, oh, we're gonna pretend to be dating and then we're gonna fall in love. Like, Bridgerton was like that.
Bridgerton's like that. Holiday to all the boys.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, there's probably more.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we have to pretend to date, because of whatever, but like, I don't like you, I totally don't like you, okay? And then at the end, it's like, okay, I mean, I guess you're alright, yeah.
Sorry, I went on a tangent.
We should have a podcast where we pitch rom-coms to each other. Like, ideas for rom-coms.
That'd be so funny.
That'd be so fun. We should definitely do that for real. That'd be awesome. we try and pitch the best rom-com story.
We'll make it a segment on here.
That's what we should do. We should have people write in with their like rom-com ideas, their pitch ideas.
Yeah.
Like who can make the most absurd rom-com like meet cute plot thread thing.
If you guys have any good rom-com ideas that are funny and ridiculous, send them to Devil's Tango Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, good thing you know the email address that you look at every day. Yeah. If you have come up with like the most like absurd, hilarious, but also somewhat logical rom-com I did. Not like something, dumb like, oh, a girl falls in love with her cow or something like that. Like something that's like kind of like you could actually see on Netflix, right? Come up with some ideas, send them in to devilstangopodcast@gmail.com and we'll read the best ones.
Yeah.
I think that would be hilarious to do that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so now you're a girl who's had mostly bad relationships.
Yeah.
Basically all of them until me. I won't hear otherwise. I assume that's true and I'm sticking to it. So every guy I've ever dated except me sucked. And she's 25. Okay, so she's about your age, close, right? So like, what advice would you have for her? Because she's had no luck with dudes or whatever, and her friends are in toxic relationships, and just reading emails like this or reading whatever. It's like all these people are in these horrible relationships. Everything sucks. She's like, what's the point? I'm 25. Like, what advice would you have for her?
Just don't date anyone and get a bunch of cats. No, just kidding.
There you go. All right.
I mean, you can't do that.
You could if you had nothing wrong with that. Just become like the local witch,
I think that some amount of cynicism about love is kind of inevitable because most relationships that you will have will end up not working out. until you meet the right one for you.
Well, I've said it before on the podcast many times. Every relationship will fail until one doesn't, right? So you're going to have, unless you date like two people, you're going to have many more negative relationships than positive. As in, like, every relationship will kind of suck until one sucks least, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, you're gonna become cynical to an extent. You're gonna become jaded with, like, love and relationships and stuff. And I think that's all just kind of par for the course of, like, dating and, I don't know, having relationships. And that's just part of, like, the baggage that you take on as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a good way to just, like, poof, like, fix it. And then, like, you're fine. I don't know.
You could do like the Disney Channel original movie. You could build a better boy, you know what I'm saying? Get like a robot boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who plays ukulele or whatever. It's a weird movie. Anyway.
Never seen it.
It's not worth it. Has no sense in it, though. Yeah, I mean, right, to go off what you just said, Kelsey, it's like there is no magical formula. Like, how do I get over being so cynical? It's like, I mean, you're not going to get over it until you kind of like date a guy who doesn't totally suck. But chances are, unless you're in a Netflix rom-com, you know, if you're just having this like, I'm so cynical, everything sucks, everything's horrible, blah, 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 like a nice, funny, happy guy with a good job and a good head on his shoulders is probably not going to date you, to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Worked for me.
Yep. But I mean, yeah, it's like, it's kind of that self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like every relationship sucks, every guy sucks, like everything, whatever. But the only guys who are going to kind of put up with that long term or who are attracted to that, chances are kind of in the same boat as you, who are also just kind of like sad and depressed and whatever. And so it's just going to keep cycling around. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, I don't know. Life is not like, this might shock you to hear this, but life is not like a Netflix rom-com, you know, where it's like the manic incubus dream boy is not going to show up and be like, I'm going to save the sad girl. You know, like that's pretty much not, I mean, it might happen, I guess, but like, good luck with that. You know what I'm saying?
Like in Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you're just some girl who's like, I'm not attractive and life's going nowhere, then some like super hot wizard dude flies in and he's just like, you know what I'm going to do? Change your life. You know, like.
Then you turn into a grandma.
They turn into a grandma for a while. Movie's awesome though, but
yeah, it's a good movie.
But yeah, like that stuff just doesn't happen. The whole manic pixie dream girl, where it's like I'm just a sad anime boy, and here's this like super hot girl who's really into me for some reason. What? And then she comes in and like, oh wow, she makes me realize life is worth it. Like that never happens, right?
I don't know that I agree with your assessment that you will only find people who are equally as cynical or whatever as you if you are that way. I think that it's, like I said, I think it's inevitable to take on some amount of cynicism from like failed relationships and stuff. I don't think it like dooms the rest of your dating life or whatever.
Well, I guess I meant more as like projecting it outwards, because like you're right, everyone has some level of cynicism, but like, you know, some people like being cynical is their personality. Whereas, like, some people, they're just cynical, but they always try to, like, look on the bright side or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think generally, you know, you are more of, like, a outwardly negative person. Whereas, generally, I'm more of, like, a outwardly positive person. You know what I'm saying? Even though I definitely am super cynical, hence why I make these videos where I make fun of rom-coms. You know what I'm saying? You know, right, everyone's cynical to a degree, but I think it's, you know, I don't know anything about this girl's personality or who she is or how she talks or whatever, but like, you know, if you're someone who's just like those like emo kids in high school where it's just like their whole personality is just being sad, you know?
Me.
You, circa 6 months ago.
And now.
now.
And in high school.
In high school and college and now. Like yesterday.
It sounds hokey to be like, oh, you just have to wait for the right one to come along, and then they'll make you rethink what you thought about love and relationships and stuff. But, like, it's kind of true, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like someone might come along but also I don't know. It's not going to be like the thing like in the rom-coms when this happens, it's like the guy is immediately into the girl and only her, and he has like no life outside of trying to get her to like date him and realize that love can be happy too. You know what I mean? But like in real life, like people have lives, people are doing things. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to like be like that. Although people are still stuck at home. People are still, mostly quarantining and whatever. So it's like maybe you can find someone who's like, well, I'm home all the time. You want to hang out, do stuff online over the internet?
So I guess
Want a cyber? Sorry.
Okay, all right. So I guess what we're saying is it's understandable and to an extent inevitable to be cynical. But try not to project that outwards onto every new relationship prospect that you have, because it might make things not work out.
Yes. Right? Like what you just said is what I probably should have said instead of whatever garbage came out of my mouth. Right. The thing that this happens to everyone and it's inevitable, but it is something that you need to kind of get over. Everyone, not just you listening, but like anyone, where it's like anytime you enter a new relationship, you have to like pay for the crimes that the last person did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm a guy, like as a guy, you date a girl and then she punishes you for what her ex-boyfriend did to her, basically. Right? It's like, well, I dated a guy and he did all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. So now, and now she kind of projects all that negative feeling onto the new boyfriend who has to kind of pick up the mess that the last boyfriend left. Or vice versa, right? Like a girl will date a guy and then he's like, oh, I have all these issues now because the last girl I dated, so it's all on you now. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how... That's how it is in a lot of relationships, and it's a really good skill. I don't know if it's a skill, but a really good thing to do is to like understand that like every person is an individual, and like just because your last boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever, just because the last person you dated was a total schmuck, like that doesn't mean that the next person is. They might be, but like it doesn't mean that they are. And so kind of punishing them for the sins of the last person you dated is unfair, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, like, oh, my last boyfriend, whatever. And so now you kind of expect the next boyfriend to do the same thing, but he's not that person. So it's like, it's not fair and it doesn't even make sense, but it is definitely, it's like human nature, I guess. Because like, you think you're being smart, and you're like, oh well, I was naive last time but I'm not going to fall for it this time, and then you're kind of like overly cautious and overly critical and overly whatever cynical, whatever it is, and then you kind of pass that on to the next guy you're dating, which goes along with what I was saying, where it's like you're kind of dooming that relationship to fail almost because you're just coming right off with like, here's all this leftover baggage from my last boyfriend, deal with that. And then a lot of people are probably going to just be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm good, thanks. So that's kind of what I was saying about like, if you have all this like cynical thing and like all the stuff that your last relationship failed because of XYZ, and you're like, well, so the next guy's going to do the same thing, right? Blah, blah, blah. Which might happen, but also might not because he's a different person. So it's not really fair to kind of think that way. But it is an easy thing to do to kind of get into that way of thinking, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And with the trust abandonment issues thing, again, I think that to an extent that just happens to most people who have dated people. People lie and cheat and do things that break people's trust, and that's just, I don't want to be like tough shit. You just have to deal with it, but it's just something you have to work through yourself and not project those insecurities or whatever onto the next person that you're gonna date.
Right. Like, like just because the last person you dated like cheated on you, for example, then that doesn't mean that like the next person is automatically going to. So it's not really fair to kind of treat them like they've already cheated. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I think, happens a lot, especially with anyone, but I feel like more with women than men, maybe because I don't know. It seems like it hits women harder to be rejected in that way. Mm-hmm. You know, to be like, whereas, not that it doesn't affect men. I just feel like, you know, like I feel like this type of thinking is more common with women than men about like love is a lie and dating sucks and men are garbage and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I've seen a few subreddits.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. Okay. You're right. Well, a lot of those men have never dated. That's the difference, I think.
True.
You know, they're like, I wanted to date the hot cheerleader, but she said ew, so therefore I hate all women now. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different than the girls actually been through, but whatever, true. So, yeah, I don't know. It just, I mean, keep an open mind with the person. Obviously, like, don't be stupid and, like, you know, like, be on the lookout for red flags or whatever. Like, you know, that's just common knowledge for anything you do ever in life. But, like, you know, when you do find someone to date, like, you know, keep an open mind or, like, I mean, like, be fair about it. Don't just assume they're going to disappoint you right away because then they probably will, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It'll be like a self-fulfilling prophecy thing.
Right. If you're looking for disappointment, you'll find it.
Also, you can always try therapy because I think anyone can benefit from therapy. You don't have to be like neurodivergent or whatever to need therapy.
Right, we talked about this podcast before. You know, it's like even if you don't have like an immediate pressing issue, like you're not bipolar or whatever, but it's just like having someone who has no stake in the game and then just talking to them about whatever's in your life and just kind of having this like relatively objective opinion, or just, you know, or even just like, I feel like this happens with a lot of people too, where it's like just talking about something out loud to someone kind of makes it make more sense in your head.
Yeah.
You know, like when it's just your thoughts in your head, they're all bounced around at 1,000 miles an hour and you can't really focus on anything. But when you talk it out, then it's like, oh, actually, never mind. I see the solution. I just need to blah, 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 blah. Why didn't I think of that before? You know, because you didn't sit down and like talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
So even just for that, just had, now, of course, therapy is expensive for a lot of people. And I'm sure a lot of therapists are all booked up now because of 2020 COVID. But
if it's in your means.
Yeah, if you can.
I think everyone should try it if they're able to.
Mm-hmm. Just talking things out with someone can be benefit unto itself, I think.
Yep.
Next email. This one's called Have I Missed My Window? Hi, Alex and Kelsey. Oh, she spelled your name right.
Yay.
This is Danielle. I am Danielle. I'm 26 years old. Will be 27 soon.
Huh. Hey, me too.
I've never been in a relationship or on a date. Haven't even had my first kiss yet. I've always been kind of shy and spent most of my middle and high school years focusing on school, and then my college years I spent most of my time working. Fair. I've had crushes here and there, but they've never panned out or turned into anything. I can count on one hand how many times I've been asked out, and 3 of them were from the same guy. Huh. In the before times. I love that she wrote that. In the old world. I planned on branching out and actively dating and meeting new people. I was getting out and enjoying my hobbies more than I had ever before, but obviously that's been pretty hard to do lately. I've tried out dating sites but haven't had any luck at all. I'm starting to worry that I've missed my window since I have 0 dating experience, and at this point, I'm not sure any guy would be interested in me due to my lack of experience. I'm not exactly relationship literate. Should I be worried? Have I completely missed the boat on the whole dating thing? Or if not, if I do end up dating at some point, will my lack of experience make things harder? Any help is welcome. Danielle. Okay. So Danielle will be 27 soon, and she has never dated anyone ever. Mm-hmm. Ever. Okay. Mm-hmm. Never been kissed. She's only been asked out a couple times, and 3 times were like the same dude. And just you know, and so she's like, I'm 27, and you know, quarantine right now has made dating really hard for a lot of people, even harder than it normally is anyway. And she's like, what do I do? I mean, I'm old and never been kissed yet and never had a boyfriend yet. And like, is it over? Should she just buy like a cauldron, start making potions? You know what I'm saying?
Make love potions.
Make love? Oh, make some love potions. You know what I'm saying? This is so funny because remember we used to get those emails. I think we still do, but like we used to read those emails where someone's like, "I'm 17, never been kissed yet.
Yeah.
Is it too late for me?"
Yeah.
And then you got Danielle's like, "I'm 27, never been kissed yet." Everyone's timeline is different, so nothing is too late or too. Never mind. I was gonna say nothing's too late or too early, but things can definitely be too early.
True.
Things. Okay, I'm saying. Gosh, this is a. Well, not that it's the same thing, but like I didn't have my first real girlfriend until I was 21, and I thought it was like over for me too. I was like 21, I was like 20 years old, like I've never dated anyone. Anyway, so is it too late? Is it too whatever? Is she just an old hag at this point? She a spinstress, whatever the term is, like an unmarried woman who's like 20 and not married yet or whatever. Anyway, now she said here. She tried out dating sites but didn't have any luck. Really? I was surprised by that. I'm starting to worry that I missed my window since I have no experience and no one wants to date a girl who has no experience. I don't know. There's probably dudes out there who would find that attractive. To be like, oh, you're like a virgin? Oh.
Yeah, but you probably don't want to be with a guy who like fetishizes that.
Sure.
That's weird.
Right, yes. No, exactly. I'm just saying, like, there are guys out there, like, her concern is, like, every guy's going to not want to be with me because I'm inexperienced. But, like, some dudes are into that. Now, you probably wouldn't want to hang out with those dudes. But, I mean, that's what's so funny is it's like, I don't have any dating experience. And so she said she's dating illiterate or something like that, right? But it's like, I mean, there's really nothing special you need to do when you're dating someone. You're kind of just their friend.
Yeah.
At least at first, right? Like, your friend's hanging out, and then, like, oh, we're holding hands and, like, kissing and stuff. But it's like, there's no, like, special behavior you have to do that's, like, radically different than what you, like, who you are already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. There's no, like, you know what I mean? There's no, like, special, I don't know, like, on TV and movies and stuff, they make it seem like you have to, but, like, in real life, it's like, find a guy who likes you for you, whatever that means, and then just kind of be yourself. But, like, like, whenever you meet someone new, like, you should be yourself, but not, like, all of yourself all at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, everyone's got weird things, everyone's got weird habits and whatever. Like, on the first couple dates, everyone kind of pretends to be, like, the best version of themselves.
Right.
So, like, of course you should do that, but that's not even a dating thing. That's just, like, when you meet someone for the first time, you kind of, you don't tell them your thoughts on socioeconomics or whatever, or maybe you do. I guess it depends on who you're dating and why. But, like, Danielle, you're concerned about, like, I'm never dated before. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But, like, you're not supposed to do anything special. You just hang out and have fun and do whatever it is you do for fun, but you just do with the guy you're dating.
Yeah.
Like Kelsey and I mean, Kelsey and I both really like video games. And so from date number 1, we were just playing a bunch of games together.
Yeah.
And it's like I like games and you like games and let's bring your Switch over, let's play some games. It's like that's, so find someone who likes a thing that you like and do that with them. And then you get to know them. And then,
Yeah.
And then you start doing some necking. Although maybe that's her concern. Maybe her concern is like, how do you go from like the more than friends bar up to the kissing thing? Like, is she supposed to wait for him to kiss her? Should she try to kiss him? But she's never kissed before. She has no idea how to even do it. I'm just gonna knock teeth together. And then it's like, and then on goodness gracious, how do you even start doing sex or whatever? Like, my goodness, how does that work? So if that's your concern, I get that. But
it's not that hard though. It's like the most instinctual thing in the world. You just do it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's much like with anything or with most things. Most dating things, I should say, is like the first time is always the hardest, and then it just gets easier after that. The first time you have a kiss, you're so nervous and you're so, what do? I don't know what I'm going to do. But the first time is always like the worst / the hardest. And then it just kind of gets better after that. Or same with like sex or whatever. The first time is always going to be awkward and weird. It's just how it is. But then like it just gets better after that, hopefully. Or same with like holding hands and same with dating and anything. It's like you just need to to just get out there, which is the worst advice, the most meaningless advice. Just get out there, girl. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dating apps didn't work for you. I guess the thing you could really do is like, I don't know what your hobbies are, what you do for fun, Danielle. I don't know if you play games, you play board games, you do yoga, I don't know what it is you do, but like, find some group online. This is my advice, right? Find some group online, join a subreddit, something, a Zoom, Discord group, Zoom class, whatever, of a thing that you like doing. If you like playing D&D, there's a whole bunch of D&D Zoom things, always looking for new players, whatever. I don't know what you like, Danielle, but like, there's got to be some kind of club/group activity thing that you can still kind of interact with people about, online, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a group, there's a club for literally anything online. Anything. Any game you would want to play, any activity, woodworking, you like whittling, whatever it is you do. You're making birdhouses, I don't know, whatever it is. Underwater welding, I don't know, whatever it is, there's a group for it. And just find a group and join it and start talking to people. And then especially if it's like a Zoom class where you can kind of like see people and stuff, and then, you know, there'll probably be some guy who wants to get all flirty with you and stuff, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, little old me, and then you start doing stuff over Zoom, like can't imagine what, but use your imagination, Danielle, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah, I know this is dumb advice, just put yourself out there, but like, that's what you gotta do, though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess dating, you know, is hard. Believe me, I get it. Like, I mean, I'm not the most attractive person, but I mean, it's like, no, I'm not. But I made it work, you know? I was funny. Be funny.
And handsome.
And have a good size
Personality.
What's up, everybody? Hey.
As for like, did you miss your window or whatever, there is no window. That's all just like arbitrary. Like you have as much time to do whatever. It doesn't matter when you start. You haven't like missed some sort of deadline. Everything's fine. I wouldn't worry about that.
Especially like in this like newest like generation or whatever, it's like everyone's doing things like later and later. Like people are waiting to have kids until they're in their 30s now. People don't get married till they're like 30 or 40 sometimes. It's like everything is just becoming later. And so you being 26, almost 27, having never dated or whatever, I mean, like, is it unusual? I guess. Like, you know, most people have dated at least once or twice by the time they're your age. But there's no window. It's not like, well, you're 27, never dated anyone. Like, no one would ever do you. You know what I mean? Like, people get remarried in their 50s all the time. Or for the first time married, or what, you know, it's not, like, watch the show, Grace and Frankie on Netflix. I mean, they're like in their 70s and they're like meeting, you know, hot dudes at the Boulder Alley or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's never too late to, meet someone or date someone, whatever, because there's always someone who's in the same position as you. You're going to meet a guy who's like, you know, like he's, you know, just a totally normal guy, but he's like, I focused on my career, focused on school. My mom was sick. I had to live with her and take care of her. And so it's like, I never dated anyone. I'm 29. I haven't been on a date yet. What do I do? You know, like you're going to meet people who are just like you. There's 7 billion people in the world, Danielle. It's a lot of people. Okay. Someone's out there for you. Like, good luck finding them. I mean, like there's a whole lot of people. So, I mean, statistically speaking, there's a ton of people who are in the same position as you. So, I get that you feel it's like everyone else is dating except for me. Everyone's doing this thing except for me. But it's like, there's probably a lot of people who are just like you. So it's never too late. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be fine. You can do it.
Last email for today is called Kids. It says, my boyfriend and I have been talking about having a kid for a while. He wants one, but I don't. I've been asking people on their takes on the topic, and their responses are mixed. Some say we should wait longer to see if my opinion changes. Others say that if we can't agree on it, we shouldn't be together. What are your thoughts on this? I agree with I don't know how old you are or how old your boyfriend is or any information here. So if you're like 16, then no. But It says here, we can't agree on having... some people say that if we can't agree on having kids, then we shouldn't be together. And I agree with that. I think, like, having kids is a huge life change that will last for the rest of your life, in theory. And so it's like, it's not like, oh, what house should we get? Which is a big decision, but it's also somewhat easily reversible. Or it's like, like there's little life decisions you make that are kind of important, but like they're just kind of important in the moment. Whereas having kids is like, okay, like your life is now forever changed. Like everything you do becomes about the kids. Your entire life becomes about the kids. I'm sure, and we all know people, right? Like once they have kids, their entire life becomes kids because it's how it's supposed to be, right? Like the kid requires 24/7 attention until they go to school, and even then, they're still at before school and the after school stuff, and then PTA meetings, and kids doing the club, he's doing show choir, and he's whatever, So it's like, if you have kids, it just completely changes your life in every way, which is not a bad thing, but it's just like if both of you are not 100% sure that you want kids, don't do it. Don't have kids. And if it's really, really important to the person you're dating, they're like, I really, really want kids. Then it's like, and if you really, really don't want kids, or if you just don't really feel strongly either way, then I think the relationship is kind of doomed to end, almost guaranteed, I feel like. Because like, if you don't have kids, then the person you're dating will always kind of regret not having kids, or will be, they'll kind of like hold it against you. They'll be like, well, I really want kids and you won't give me kids. Or in the reverse, if you do end up having a kid that you don't want, and like maybe you'll learn to love it or whatever, but it's like you're just going to be miserable because you're like, I didn't want this life and now I'm stuck with it forever. Even when the kid grows up, whatever like that, it's like still like, okay, so for the next 18 years at least, like you just have to live this life that you never wanted. You know what I mean? So I would say being with someone who really, really wants kids, and if you're not 100% on board with them, like, I really, really want kids too. If you're not like that, if you don't want kids, or if you're just kind of like, I mean, I don't really know how I feel, then, like, yeah, dating someone else who's on the same page as you might be a better option, because down the road, this whole kids thing is probably it's gonna be a constant topic of discussion / argument, I think. What do you think, Elsie?
No, I agree with everything you said. It's not really something you can compromise on. You can't have half of a kid. So.
That's a picture. I mean, you can, but that would be very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think you should date people who have that should be like one of the first serious topics that you talk about when you start dating someone. Mm-hmm. I think their stance on marriage and having kids.
Yeah, not like first date, but like when you're serious and you start becoming serious, like we're an exclusive serious couple now. And if you're of the age where that's like a appropriate conversation, like I said, if you're like 16 or whatever, then like tell him to like put something somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like, let's say even like early to mid 20s and certainly older than that, and it's like when you start seriously dating, it's like, okay, so like, what are your thoughts on like marriage and like kids and stuff? Because it's not like a super romantic conversation to have, because TV and movies tell us that it should all just be spontaneous and like you don't want to like ruin the moment. But like real life is not like that. Like you need to be like, what do you think about this stuff? And like, is this important to you or not? How do you feel? Like, I mean, we talked about that pretty early on, I feel like.
Yeah.
And we were both kind of on the same page about all that stuff. It's like, okay, good. So, like, this relationship can, like, work.
Right.
Whereas, if you're not on the same page, even if everything else in the relationship is great, but just, like I said, one of you will always have regret. Either because you did the thing you didn't want to do, or because you didn't get to do the thing you wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think as a whole, people don't take having children seriously enough. Or think it through well enough. And it's something that you should really think about and consider before you do it. It's important.
Yeah, because you're bringing a human life into the world, and like I said, you are responsible for that life for at least 18 years.
More than that.
Yeah,
Realistically.
right. At least, at the very least, legally 18 years. Most likely, it's 27. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like, and also just with, well, this is getting into our opinions on kids and all that. I was gonna say, like, with the world the way it is, global warming, all this stuff, the political climate, everything. It's like, why would you want to bring? The Earth is dying. No, but I mean, like. It's just, yeah, it's a huge responsibility. It's like some people think it's like getting a pet where it's like, well, but we have a dog and we can take care of it. Surely we can take care of a kid. Not the same thing.
No.
Okay? Like a dog is difficult to take care of for the first year, 6 months maybe, and then it grows up and it's kind of somewhat of an adult at that point. Animals grow up really fast to where they can kind of take care of themselves for the most part. Whereas like kids, I mean, you're not going to sleep for the first year. You know,
At least.
it's 6 months at least. You're not going to sleep at all. And then the whole pregnancy, childbirth thing is going to like mess up your body, basically, kind of, not completely, but like it's a huge thing. I'm not saying like you should never have kids. I'm just saying it's like if you don't explicitly really, really gosh darn it want kids, then like it should not be something you just kind of do because your boyfriend wants them. You know what I mean? It's easy for him to say that too. It's easy for the boyfriend to be like, I want kids. He's not the one who has to like, blow it up to the size of like a balloon and then has to like, give the kid and then wear a diaper for the next like 2 months because your body's not working anymore and do the whole hormonal thing and has to like push out this watermelon. He gets to do the fun stuff. Like to make the kid, he does the fun part and then you have to deal with it for the next 9 months and then he gets to play with it while you have to get, postpartum depression and all this stuff. It's like so many things you have to go through as the woman. Whereas the man's just like, I just still want to wear condoms, bro. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it's not selfish not to have them. I see that like on the internet sometimes that people think it's selfish not to have kids.
I mean, it's almost selfish to have kids.
Yeah.
In a way. Depends on your perspective, obviously. Like, this could be argued the opposite way, too. But, I mean, it's like, like, I want to have a kid so that my life feels fulfilled.
Yeah, and I have something that looks like me and can carry on my legacy.
It's like, with the world the way it is and stuff, like, there's so many people in the world, and, like, things are just terrible anyway. So if you decide you don't want to have kids for really any reason, that's a perfectly valid point of view. You don't need to have people, like, pressure you into having kids you don't want to have just because they want you to have, just because your mom wants grandkids or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, don't let that be a thing because it is your life at the end of the day. And, you shouldn't have to give up 18 years of your life just to, like, make your boyfriend happy or make your mom happy, but you're going to be miserable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Giving up the best years of your life for something you didn't even want. If you want kids, have kids. I'm not saying no one should ever have kids. Kids are wonderful things. Maybe. But, like, for some people. But, like, if you don't explicitly want them, then don't have them because it's, it's going to be, I'm sure who is it that some comedian was like, I love my children more than anything, but I wish I never had them or something like that. I forget who said that, but it's like, which I feel, it's like, not that that's a common sentiment, but I feel like, it's like some people, they don't want kids and you have kids and of course you would love your kids no matter what, but still it's like, part of you would probably always wish you never had them, which would always put you in kind of a weird position because it make you feel like a bad mom. You're like, I'm the worst mom ever. Sometimes I wish I didn't have kids. I must be a horrible mom. And then you know what I mean? It's just like a whole thing.
We went on a tangent, but anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, although, I mean, we're recording this on Valentine's Day, but a different episode's going up on Valentine's Day. Which is today. But whatever.
Happy belated
Happy like Valentine's 2 or 3 weeks after Valentine's Day. Happy March 10th. I don't know. Well, where can they email us if they want to send in their own emails?
devilstangopodcast@gmail.com.
And where can they send their rom-com pitch ideas?
Also, devilstangopodcast@gmail.com.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.